Welcome back to The Betrayed. I'm Gina Beck.
This is Drew Williams.
Thank you for listening, liking, commenting, and subscribing. We really appreciate y'all, especially the reviews on Apple Podcasts. It really means a lot.
And thank you guys again for the continued engagement, the continued support, and the hashtag Banana Cats.
How are you, Drew?
I'm good, G. How are you?
I'm doing well. While you guys are listening to this, I'm in LA. I love you guys. Sorry I'm not really here with you guys. I'm actually in LA, but happy birthday to me.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be your birthday. Hopefully, my car will be okay, and I will be in LA at least for one day hanging out with you, too. So.
Yeah, party. We'll jump into the episode. We have a few things that we want to talk about. It's going to be pretty graphic, the things that we're talking about. It's news in the news right now. To start with, a vile offender who, an 83-year-old woman, has been jailed after attacking her in her own home. Now, I know that this has been talked about more and more, especially recently through the pandemic. The elderly are being targeted. They're a very big target right now, especially elderly women. And there's tons of articles out there where they're being targeted in their own homes and taken advantage of in multiple different ways, whether it has to do with money or sexually. For this one, it was a man named Keith Brown, 55. He actually got caught. He's sentenced to 10 years for what he did. It took place uptown on Severn in Worcestershire early on the 13th of August. Police said they used every resource available, including dogs, to track this man down. He pleaded guilty to the crime. He pleaded guilty on December 16th, and the detective inspector Tony Garner said afterwards this was despicable offense of an elderly and defenseless victim. Following the report of the incident, he mobilized every resource at their disposal, from detectives to dog teams, in order to catch him, and all those involved in the investigation worked as much as they could. I guess they stayed up 24 to 48 hours trying to find him. Like, they would not give up. They really wanted to catch this guy. It was like a tireless
round-the-clock type investigation.
Right. And they said that they didn't want anyone else to potentially become a victim, is why, like, they knew that he was dangerous and on the prowl. So he praised the 83-year-old woman as extremely brave and courageous, and said that he hoped the conviction and sentence will provide some kind of closure for her. Also, with him being caught, it will reassure a local community and act as a warning to anyone else considering and doing it, especially because the numbers are high in a lot of cities. So they're hoping that with this catch, that it will let other people know that you can't get away with it, right? So they're really happy that he was caught, and they were able to bring some kind of justice for her. And they were also able to put a restraining order preventing him from contacting her ever again in his life. Because he gets like 10 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, he only got 10 years for that crime. That is, I mean, glad he got caught, but that seems like such a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, it's devastating. It's very tragic.
Yeah, so that whole thing is just absolutely terrible and scary to know that someone's out there targeting. I mean, a lot of us have parents that are already considered elderly age or older, and grandparents and things like that, aunts and uncles, and that's a sad situation. And I've got more sad situations to follow that. This was reported out of Las Vegas. It was reported December 11th. Elementary school teacher among 11 arrested in vile offender investigation. Las Vegas. An assistant principal at a Clark County elementary school was among nearly a dozen people arrested in an operation that targeted online vile offenders, according to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. An investigation by Metro and the FBI resulted in 11 arrests on December 8th through 9th after officers in the Metro Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force identified subjects who tried to meet and have relations with someone they believed was a 13-year-old girl. Tyler Johnson Yost, 29, was identified as a CCSD assistant principal at Herbert A. Durfelt Elementary School. The suspects face various charges including luring a child to engage in sexual conduct, soliciting a child for misuse, attempted assault against a child under 14, and luring a child with the use of computer technology to engage in sexual conduct. A statement sent to Durfelt Elementary School parents was sent out on ParentLink. The message from the principal, Gina Howard, said part, "The safety of our students is number one priority at Durfelt Elementary School. As always, we want to keep you informed of important issues happening within our community. We would like to inform you that an employee assigned to our school has been arrested today for luring a child for sex. The employee is currently assigned to home as of today per negotiated agreement with their bargaining unit. Metro reminds parents to discuss with their children of the dangers of online chat with strangers. Parents are encouraged to routinely monitor the child's activity on social media and other online applications to prevent them from becoming victims of child abusers. This operation was conducted as part of the LVMPD's ongoing efforts to reduce violent crime and protect children in the community." So this is just another one of those stories where you never know who it's going to be. And the other list of the people on here, you look at, we'll link these in description as well. I believe a couple years younger, there's a 27-year-old, and then it goes all the way up to 55 years old. They're all ethnicities on here. They could be your neighbor.
It's insane. I think exactly like you said, like we've talked about before, literally can be anyone. Anyone. Speaking of, it could literally be anyone. The FBI is on the hunt for potential victims and information about Brian Jeffery Raymond. He's a former U.S. Embassy employee in Mexico City, already accused of drugging and assaulting nearly 24 women across a decade in several countries. A notice released this week by the FBI, which has been working with the U.S. Diplomatic Security Services Office of Special Investigations and Mexican law enforcement, they're also on the case, includes the first public photos of Raymond. It encourages anyone who may have dated Raymond or have information about him to provide details through an online questionnaire. As the Daily Beast was first to report this, Raymond was arrested October 9th outside of a gym in La Mesa, California, where he had been staying with his parents after suddenly quitting his job. Federal prosecutors describe Raymond, who is 44 years old, as an experienced, vile offender, whose alleged acts stretch back to at least 2011. He was initially detained in May by Mexico City police, who responded to reports of a naked, hysterical woman desperately screaming for help from the balcony of an apartment rented by the U.S. Embassy. If I say this wrong, I'm very sorry, guys. But well-heeled in the neighborhood of Poblado, after claiming diplomatic immunity, Raymond, who insisted the encounter had been consensual, was released and returned to the United States the next day. In a search of Raymond's phone, laptop, and iCloud account, agents from the FBI and the Diplomatic Security Service found hundreds of sickening photos and videos they say showed everything from unconscious women being abused, and a man holds open the woman's eyelids, waves their limp arms and legs, puts his fingers in their mouth, eliciting no response. Prosecutors said in others, Raymond can apparently be seen nude and aroused. A number of women could be heard snoring in the footage. At least 9 of the alleged attacks occurred in embassy housing. According to investigators, the digital breadcrumbs left behind by Raymond was also included numerous chats with women apologizing to him for blacking out, asking him if they had any kind of intercourse or claiming to have no memory of the night before. The FBI says the investigation was revealed photographs and videos of additional adult women on Raymond's devices and electronic accounts, which could raise the total number of victims even further. Court filings do not specify Raymond's exact position at the Mexico City embassy, where he had been posted since 2018. He has virtually no online presence. Prosecutors say Raymond speaks Spanish and Mandarin Chinese and has worked in at least 6 different countries during the government career, including Mexico and Peru. The Department of State declined to comment or provide further details, referring the Daily Beast to the Department of Justice, which declined to comment. Raymond, who met the majority of his alleged victims through online dating apps, is charged with 1 count of coercion and enticement. He is due back in court on January 20th. His attorneys did not respond to a request for comment. If you have any information regarding Brian Jeffrey Raymond, you can contact the FBI at reportingbjrfbi.gov. And we'll leave the link to this article in the description so that way you guys can read it yourselves if you want, or if you're listening to this and you have any information, make sure you go to the link at the bottom of the article and reach out.
Yeah, that guy, that's absolutely insane that that man's been able to get away with that much. It almost sounds like something out of a really bad movie. Like
It sounds like it's gonna be a movie, right? Doesn't it? I mean, it's an insane storyline
well,
at the end, and it's also realistic. It's a realistic storyline, and that's what the most scary part is, that it's who knows how many victims are out there.
it's deep, especially with a guy that speaks that many languages and all these embassies and yeah.
And I mentioned that a lot of the victims came from dating apps. That's another thing to note. If you're on dating apps just meeting anybody, it's very scary.
Yeah, they're becoming more increasingly more dangerous as the years go on, it seems like the dating apps.
100%.
Well, I've got one terrible thing to follow that. Nigeria, 10 rescued from baby factory. Yes, exactly what I said. This was reported December 2nd. Police in Nigeria have rescued 10 people, including 4 children, 4 pregnant women, and 2 other women from an illegal maternity home, a spokesman said Wednesday. The operation was carried out at the so-called baby factory in the, and I'm going to butcher this too, Mowowi area of southwestern Ogun State on Tuesday. Acting on a tip-off, our men stormed the illegal maternity home and rescued 10 people, including 4 kids and 6 women, 4 of whom are pregnant. The police spokesman, and I'm really going to butcher this person's name, Abimbalobo Oyamimi, told the AFP news agency. He said the women told police that the owner hired men to impregnate them and then sell newborns for profit. The factories are usually small illegal facilities parading as a private medical clinics that house pregnant women and offer their babies for sale. In some cases, young women have been held against their will and raped before the babies are sold on the black market. Oyami said that the two suspects, a physically challenged man and the daughter of the owner of the clinic, were arrested. The operator of the clinic is on the run, but we are intensifying efforts to arrest her and bring her to justice. Oyomi said the operator had been previously arrested for the same offenses. She had been standing trial for human trafficking after her arrest earlier this year, but she was on bail when she went back to her usual business. Police raids on the illegal maternity units are relatively common in Nigeria, especially in the southern region. And this was reported from DW. This is an English German based news site. There's no conspiracy theory. You can look up more reports if you don't believe me about the problem in Nigeria. It's just sickening. All these things we've talked about today are sickening.
Imagine if that was like in your city, that factory.
It makes you wonder if there are.
Exactly. That too. That is definitely something to think about. And it could be anywhere. It could happen to anyone.
Yeah, and I hate to end it out on that, and then the I guess this would technically be the us ending it on the year. the end of 2020, but I don't have much more to say after hearing all that tonight.
Recap on this year a little bit. I mean, it's been an intense year with the pandemic and everything. 2020 has hurt a lot of people and a lot of families. I think it's also benefited a lot of people in a lot of ways because I think during a pandemic, so a lot of people like to think outside of the box. And like the guy who started selling masks and made 3 million in just a month from selling masks, from creating them and selling them. He thought outside the box and he really gained from the pandemic. But then there's families that lost their jobs and are getting sick and losing family members and the total opposite. So no matter which, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off.
I was going to say, no matter which side that you're on, if you're thriving through this pandemic, if you're just getting through, or if it's hurting you, I hope that 2021 is a better year for you, and I hope that you're able to do better no matter what you're doing. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I think reflecting back, I think one thing I can take from 2020 is it made you realize how the simple things are really how good they are. There's a lot of things that we would call what we wish to go back to norm that we take for granted, and just remember, loved your loved ones that have stuck around. Don't get offended at people that haven't kept in contact this year because they may not be able to. You don't really know everyone's situation that's going on with all this. But
Yeah,
we
100%.
really appreciate all of you guys' continued support.
Yeah. This has been, what, a full year of The Betrayed?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
A full year of The Betrayed. A little over a year, actually. Thank you guys for listening, liking, commenting, and subscribing. We appreciate y'all. Until next time in 2021, Banana Cats.
Much love, Banana Cats. Be safe out there. Peace.